What's up, everyone? Today I wanted to talk about my philosophy to life and how I think a beneficial way to approach life is to be able to gain fulfillment and well-being. The philosophy is to approach life as if it's a game, like MMORPG, World of Warcraft, Skyrim, or any of the games like Dungeons and Dragons where you are created into this world and you have a class, you are a character, and you're playing a role for that game to progress in some way, shape, or form. When we are born into this reality, into the real world, we don't necessarily know what character that we are, but perhaps the creator of this world knows what character you are, but it is up to you to be able to have the self-awareness to unlock conscious awareness of what your character class is. So just like in an MMORPG, they have different classes like the rogue, paladin, warrior, shaman, wizard. Maybe we have the same sort of setup in here, that we have certain ways of personifying ourselves or certain qualities in and of ourselves that lend itself to certain class types. So one way I think for us to figure that out is through the understanding of your own personal psychology, like delving down these paths of Myers-Briggs or astrology, horoscopes, the Big Five Ocean personality test. I think all of these tests that we can take on the internet are allowing us to introspect on who we are, and through that process of taking these tests, of gaining understanding into psychology and personality, the better we are at discovering who we are and what our sense of self is, to potentially finding out what our character class is in this world. And it's an ongoing process. It's not something you take the test once and you're able to figure it all out. It's something that could take years. It's just like any craft, any skill. It takes the ritualistic practice of actually doing it. So ways of figuring it out, I think, is, like I said, first studying psychology and personality specifically, trying to test yourself on what your personality is, and then also journaling, like writing down your thoughts on who you think you are, asking yourself the question and sitting with the question, and trying to reflect on your thoughts of what it all means to you. And I think through that you'll have a better understanding of what your personality is, and then from that stems a lot of other avenues where you start learning into what your beliefs are, your ideology, your political leaning, what you value. I think is hugely important, because what we value is directing and motivating us to behave accordingly. So if we know what our values are, then we know how to proceed in our behaviors to be able to achieve those values. But essentially, I think through the power of self-awareness, through journaling, through self-reflection, through understanding of psychology in general and personality, and through the practice of asking yourself these questions, you can start to develop your own philosophy to life. And then through that philosophy of life, you start to understand, like, okay, this is my role for society, and this is the character that I am playing in this game. And these are my skills and talents that make up who I am, and I want to behave according to my values. And from the culmination of all those different aspects, you start to develop your own personal mission of, this is who I am, this is what I value, and this is also what I want to create value in the world from. We don't necessarily seek out things that are authentically valuable to us until we actually know what our values are, right? So you could be pursuing a life where you are misled in your values because you never fully recognize what your values are, and now you are not getting a full sense of fulfillment because you're trying to seek out something that doesn't necessarily align with who you are and what you believe this world should have. And then through the power of self-awareness and developing your personal philosophy, you start to understand how the world works, and you start to gain a deeper insight into maybe the economics, or how we work at a sociological level, So it's like starting the understanding of who you are within and then slowly expanding outward into understanding what your local community is like, what your city's like, state, and then you can delve into like at a global level with like macroeconomics. So it's trying to be basically like a social scientist, a practical social scientist. Social sciences would be psychology, philosophy, economics, sociology, political science, anthropology. So it's taking all of these teachings but trying to apply them into your life to be able to manifest well-being and fulfillment for yourself. And I think the more understanding you have over these subject areas, the better you are in being able to navigate this life, this game, this reality. And then as you start to understand more about the world, you start to seek out things that align with your values, start to find and meet people that also align with who you are, whether it's in shared interests or beliefs. And then slowly over time, you start to build your tribe, your community that is authentic to who you are. And I think when you start to build that out, you can have more dramatic opportunities to have new experiences that provide that sense of fulfillment. So I think in a way, it's like we want to help the world, we want to provide value, but at the same time, it's developing value in ourselves first. And if we don't have that sense of self, we haven't gone through that journey of personal development, then you don't really have much to provide for your community. So instead of trying to first try to help, I think we should try to help ourselves, like spend a lot of time trying to develop who we are and develop our skills and talents. Granted, this is a long-term process, but then after you've developed yourself, then you can develop your community, your culture, who knows, maybe the world. But it takes time. It definitely takes time. It could take 10 years to become proficient at a certain skill, like the 10,000 hour rule, where it takes 10,000 hours to be a master at a craft. And then just to wrap up, I wanted to talk about the difference between peace and progress and how I think this philosophy is able to keep us in balance, to be able to have the emotional regulation to allow us to continue to progress forward. So there's times where we're under stress and life's hard, life sucks at times, and there's a lot of negativity that's happening. And just like how we're saying life is a game, during these times of stress, we could also say life's a game, and it kind of takes that pressure, that seriousness of this reality that we're existing in. And then at the same time, it empowers us, because now it's like, okay, life is a game. Like, I'm doing this for positive reward, like for opportunity, just like how you would in a video game. You're trying to be positively reinforced to proceed forward, to achieve something, to level up, to gain experience. And I think that's a healthy way to approach life. Progress forward because you're trying to empower yourself, because you're excited about the future of who you can become, trying to progress forward to achieve your ideal state of self-actualization, as Maslow's would say. And then when you're stressed out during times of despair, then you're able to have an outlet to be able to say that life is just a game and it's okay and it's not that serious. So yeah, I hope that was helpful for you guys, and yeah, take care. Peace.